So we have a red double header today in the MyCareer. So we're playing against Southend back to back. One of those is a replay in the second round proper of the FA Cup. So that's really important because that would get us through to the third round when the big boys come into it. And hopefully we get a big team. The other game, of course, is going to be to make sure that we can stay top of the National League because that is currently where we are. Hi there, how you doing? Welcome to part 11 of the MyCareer series with Club 1 here at Spennymoor Town. My name is Stu, thank you for joining me in today's video, in which, as mentioned, it's 2 games against Southend. What could possibly go wrong with that? And if you're excited to see how we get on, don't forget, leave a big like on there for me and don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so, and you'll put a big smile on this face right here, and you'll keep up to date with the nonsense that comes out of it on a regular basis. So, full disclosure, I'm recording this on the 29th of December, so happy Christmas. Hope everyone had a lovely time. You're going to be seeing this in January. You'll have forgotten about Christmas at this point, but I'm still very much living in the middle of Christmas. So, yeah, just going to put that out there right now. I'm going to carbon date this video a little bit more. So, yes, since you were last with us, I haven't played this game for like over a week, so it's fun to go back into it. But we are, as it stands, currently top of the National League, which is great considering we got promoted last season. But I feel like it's been talked about by other people. I don't think the difference in National League North and South and National League is that great. It's the next jump after that, which is where it gets a bit of a problem. It's just so hard, obviously, to get out of this league because there's only the 2 spots. So it is what it is. Hopefully we can stick the landing on this. At the moment, we've won 16 games, drawn 2, lost 3. We have got the best win record in the league, not the best loss record in the league. That actually belongs to Forest Green, but they've drawn a lot of games as well. We've scored the most goals in the league from the looks of things. Our defence is probably the second best looking at that, so we are doing quite well. Our goal difference is actually matched by Southend, who are our opponents today. Now, we have actually played them once already in the first round. The first attempt to get him past the second round of the FA Cup. It was a 2-2 draw. We scored twice, they scored twice. It was a very tough game. We were behind in that game twice. We had to come back into it twice, which we did. That was away from home. Today we've got the home game, and we've also got a home game in the league as well. So hopefully we can get that going. But you can see the results of the season there. That loss against Forest Green Rovers is the last time we tasted defeat. Before that, it was the game against York. And before that, it was the game against Morecambe. We've actually avenged the Morecambe game in the last round of the FA Trophy. This is the game we were going to bring you back for, but I thought 2 games against Southend could be quite fun, considering they're one of our title rivals this season. But we did beat Morecambe on penalties. It was not an easy game. Morecambe have dropped down a little bit, but they're still a bit of a threat. So, not an easy game at all. We had to go through on penalties. We relied on them missing a penalty and us converting all of ours. Glenn Taylor's been injured recently, by the way, but he has to step back into the team. And he's starting to look a little bit better. He's getting there. He is getting there. Speaking of getting better, Joe Mendes has started to improve as well. His development apparently is not going very well, but he's actually doing all right. 7.15 in the league at the moment. We were a bit concerned about him. He is, of course, however, suspended for this game because he got sent off the last time we played Southend. Which, was it Southend that we played that he got sent off in? He got sent off in a game. I can't remember which one it was, but he has been sent off recently, which means he cannot play today because he's been a naughty boy. So, let's get into the game and let's just see what happens. This is going to be the 11 that we're going to be using. It is going to be Popple in goal, Banks, Burke, Ward and Wood in defence, Riley and Dyson in the middle with Ben El-Mahani, Ferguson and Richards supporting Benjamin up front. Benjamin has become our starting striker. More out of necessity because of an injury to Glenn Taylor, but he's actually done an admirable job. If we have a quick look, other than the last game that he played against Southend and the Morecambe game where we didn't select him, he scored in 5 games in a row. Didn't score the game before that, but did score as a substitute. Got an assist in that game as well. He is actually on a bit of a good run of form, so hopefully he can continue that today. As I said, Glenn Taylor's coming back to fitness. He is only recommended for 45 minutes. He will be an emergency super sub if we need one. We have fallen out with Ben Beals. He's actually leaving the club in January, as is Bradley James. He is going. We're not going to use him. We're not going to use Ben Beals. We are close to getting Yarni out the door. He's rejected a couple of offers here or there. Remember, he had that total collapse as a footballer. I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. Get him out. So we're probably going to get rid of him as well, which is meaning we have got a little bit of money to play with wage-wise at the moment. But, of course, that is not including their wages because they're still at the club. So we'll get another 350 quid from him. I'll get another £1,000 from Ben Beals as well. So we'll have a decent amount of money to play with in January. Now, we're not far away from Jan, and we have actually got some players on trial with us at the moment who we can kind of have a look through. Some of them are not bad. In fact, all of them are pretty good. It's just working out if any of them are going to be worth signing. I mean, Ollie Palmer, if you're familiar with Wrexham, you'll know that this guy was signed with them when they have started the Wrexham series on Disney+. So he's a bit of a well-known player if you've watched that series. He's no longer with them. He is a decent player, but he's 33. He's not going to be the best player in the world. He's also quite slow, so although he's a good striker, we're probably not going to go with him. Now, Pharrell Willis, other than his consistency, is tempting as a winger. I think we do need another winger. I am tempted by him. However, Harrison Holgate is the first one that jumps out. Defender or defensive midfielder. He just doesn't like big games. But, again, we've discovered not just in this save, but also in my Deportivo save, that's not a death sentence, especially if it's only orange and it's not red. So I might be tempted to make a bit of an offer on him. There's also Theo Vassell, who I feel like I have already looked at, but he has also got the same issue. But again, maybe not a death sentence. And then central midfielder here also has the same thing. Then we have a couple of strikers. Lewis Richardson, I mean, he's got the curse of the consistency and the big matches, so we probably won't go with him. Ollie Palmer doesn't have any of that other than injuries and the fact that he's old. And Jake Bickerstaff doesn't have anything as well. So maybe we go in for him just as another option because he's quick. I like the idea of a quick lad. So we'll come to that when we come to it. But for now, Southend, FA Cup. Now, the only downside of everything is we know who we're going to be playing in the third round if we get through. And it's Lincoln, which is not the most exciting game in the world. Apologies, Lincoln fans. They are a League One side, though. So, if we have a look, their stadium is 10,000 seats. I mean, that would bring in a decent amount of money. It's not quite 40,000 like the Chelsea game, but it's a decent amount of money. However, they are a League One side. Now, I feel like we've played a League One side in recent times. I'm sure we... Did the League One get in the FA Trophy? I can't remember whether they do, but I feel like we played a League One side at some point last season in the FA Trophy. We probably didn't, so I'm probably making it up. I can't see anyone who's jumping out as a League One side. It could be Rochdale in the National League. Nah, probably not. I'm probably making it up. But then we got a draw against Chelsea. So what I'm kind of hoping is, because they're a League One team, maybe, because the jumping class might not be quite as, well, it won't be quite as big as it would be against Chelsea. Maybe we can just sneak something against them if we get to them. If not, we'll get a bit of money from them. It'll be what it will be. But that's enough of me waffling. Let's get into the game. We've got to beat Southend first. That's the thing. Now, we are at home, as I said. We drew against them when we did not have home advantage. I'd like to think with home advantage we can do something. Now, I have left 2D on, so I do need to change that as soon as we get into the game, because you know what I'm like. I do forget to do it because I'm a silly goose. Right, let me get that sorted. Let me just pause the game, go to the sideline, drop that down by 2, and away we go. Right, Southend. Again, we drew against them at the first attempt. This is the second attempt. We have home advantage. I'd like to think that we can get something going here. Right, Ferguson to Wood. Wood, back to Ferguson. Ferguson cutting inside, going to go for a shot, and he actually does force a goal. Connor Wood, by the way, starting to look like the left-back we wanted him to look like. He is starting to play a little bit better, which is good to see, and that is a great example of how he's playing better. Him and Ferguson just deciding they want to do it all themselves. And do you know what? If that's the result, I'm quite content with them to do it all themselves, because quite clearly, they know what they're doing. Early goal, that is exactly what we wanted to see, 1-0. But we have a highlight from kickoff, and this usually doesn't go well for us, I've got to say. Unless we nick the ball off of them and go up and score a second immediately. That would be glorious if we can. I don't think that is going to be what happens. I've got a feeling we're about to go 1-1. That's usually what happens when there's a kickoff highlight immediately from when you've just scored a goal. Usually that's what happens. However, Ferguson's just nicked the ball back, which is great. So maybe it is going to be 2-0. Or it's going to be nothing. Maybe there's no goals involved at all and the game just is messing with me. Right, Wood now with the ball. Going inside here a little bit out of his way. Goes back to Ferguson. That link up happening again. Ferguson again looking to do it all himself. Gets it to Banks on the other side. He's been our assist king. And he is our assist king. He continues the trend. And it's Ben El Mahani who makes it 2. And it was straight from kickoff. I told you, I knew a goal was coming the second it was from kickoff. I just knew it was. I didn't think it was going to be for us, but it was. Ferguson heavily involved, gets it to our assist King Banks, who does whip it in. And there is Ben Al-Mahani, who really has dropped off not a cliff, but he's not a National League player in terms of his quality. He's a leading player for the league below, which does mean he can do a job in this league. But he just seems to pop up when we need him to. He's been a really, really quality player who just seems to have that little bit of an X factor, a little bit of magic about him, which I absolutely love. So, really happy to see him doing that. Right, Riley now, who's been very inconsistent, very hit and miss. Our central midfield has been the most inconsistent part of our team, and it is an area that we probably need to address going forward. Right, ball's whipped in, keeper heads it out, Dyson into... Oh, there he is, Amari Benjamin. Last year with MyCareer with MyCareer with Tranmere Rovers, he was a really solid option for us, and he is proving to be that again, despite the fact that I was a little bit concerned about him. But there we go, gets the ball here. It's horrendous from their defence and goalkeeper. I think they've lost their heads, and it is 3-0. Get in there, boys. That'll do. I'm happy with 3-0, but if we can get a fourth, I'll be even happier. We've got 3 goals from 3 shots. I am delighted with that. Very delighted. The efficiency this team is showing, excellent. Absolutely excellent. Right. Big goal kick. We do actually get possession immediately from it. Riley now going out wide to Ben Al-Mahani. Ben Al-Mahani trying to keep possession, goes back to Banks. Banks now into Burke. But my face muscles are actually hurting from talking this much in like short succession. That's how long it's been since I've recorded a video. My face is just like, Steve, I haven't done this in a while. Right, Riley to Ferguson. Ferguson into Amari Benjamin. Benjamin now looking to get a goal or an assist. Gets it to Ben Al-Mahani. Is he going to go for a goal? He did, you know. And the keeper was worried enough to make the save. And we now have a corner. We might have a fourth here. Right. It's going to be a short corner from the looks of things. Ferguson. Is it going to be short? It is. He gets it to Richards. Richards. Going to lay it back off to Ferguson. He does. Ferguson. Are we going to mess it up? Into Riley. Into Ward. Heavy touch from Ward. That's disappointing. Looking like it was going to be a good routine. But Ward, I mean, to be fair to him, he's a centre-back. I don't quite know why he's being involved in the link-up play there. But if he's going to be involved in a link-up play, then it's likely he's going to stuff it up. I don't mean that horribly. It is what it is. We are on key highlights because there's been an awful lot of highlights in this half. But it's because every time we've attacked so far, apart from one, we've scored. So, you know, that's probably the reason why. It just feels very highlight heavy. And we're only 20 minutes into this game. Right, Richards to Ferguson. Ferguson now running down that flank. Cutting inside into the box. Gets to Amari Benjamin. And it is 4. And I think that's going to be all she wrote. And I think it's a second year consecutively that we're going to go into the FA Cup third round. Admittedly, not against as big a team as last time. But they are 2 leagues below that team last time. And we competed in the first game. So maybe, just maybe, we can get something out of that game. If not, we'll still get some money. We'll get more money than we would have at home. So it is what it is. Right. 4-0. It's kind of all she wrote at this point. But I do want us to keep going, to be honest. I think if we can just make an absolute marker, especially for the league game coming as well, that's even better. Right, Richards with the ball now. Heavy touch, but gets away with it. Cuts it in, looking for Benjamin to get his hat-trick. Dyson's there, can't get it. Managed to get to Riley. He's going to hit it, and he is going to score. Their heads must have gone at this point. Their keeper's having an absolute mare. And Riley manages to make it 5 inside half an hour. These guys are 3rd in the National League, and we really struggled against them, as I said, in that first leg. We must have caught them on a really bad off day today. We must have done, because we're walking over them compared to what they were like in that first... I keep saying first leg. It's not a first leg. This is the replay. But they must be shattered, out of form, or they've heavily rotated, one or the other. I can't remember many of the names, to be fair, but it's a disappointing performance from them. But I am not complaining, because I want to get to that FA Cup third round, potentially even further. I mean, if we could get through the FA Cup third round against the League One team. The thing is, we know that our team is good enough to be in this league, and it's good enough to be top of it. So it's also... Oh, that's a poor piece of defending from us. We're switching off a little bit here, but they are not very good. If we're good enough to be a National League team, and we're good enough to be at the top of it, we're good enough to be a lower League 2 side, and I feel like a League 2 and a League 1 team would compete against each other quite well. So I'm not unhappy with the idea that we have to face Lincoln, because I think we have got a chance against them. Not the biggest chance in the world, but a chance. So if we can take it, I'll be really happy. Right, Banks whips it in. He's looking for Amari Benjamin. And Amari Benjamin's gone and got another one just because he can. I think we're bringing on Glenn Taylor in the second half because there's no point keeping Amari Benjamin on. He's scoring goals for fun. We don't need him to score anymore. Let's rest him for the second game against Southend today. That feels like the right thing to do. But again, whipped in by our assist king there. Benjamin runs backwards. That's just perfect. The keeper, again, having a shocking game. And Amari Benjamin gets another goal. And that is half-time. And it's come just at the right time. In fact, that was Benjamin's hat-trick. I thought he'd already got his hat-trick. That's how many goals we've scored. Goodness me. Sorry, Amari. Well, he's going to go off at half-time a hero. And Glenn Taylor is going to come on to get some more fitness back into his old legs. Right, I'm also going to bring on Reece Staunton for Connor Wood. Connor Wood, again, has done the job today. I want to take Lewis Banks off. The only kind of players we can put there, though, are Regan Riley and Finlay McAllister. But I don't want to do that just yet. We'll leave it for the time being. And we'll just carry on as we are. There's no point in changing too much because it's working for us. I'll just make those two changes and let's just see whether we can get any more goals in before half-time. Momentum-wise, towards the end of that half, they did start to come back into the game. They had a good amount of shots, actually, but none of them on target. And we've already done the job. So even if they do turn it around, we've already done the job on them. There's very little to worry about at this point. Right. And Dangandi has had the worst game of his career, launched it forward. We actually steal the ball immediately off them. And here's Ben El Mahani now, looking to get the ball forward. He's doing it all on his own here. He wants a goal, but doesn't get it. It is a save, and it is going to be a corner. Can we get a 7th? I think we can. Come on, lads. Maybe not from this attack, but I think we can get a 7th goal. I would like to see it. Right, it's whipped in. Staunton was there as well as Taylor, but Taylor couldn't get on the end of it either. I'd like to see a goal from Taylor as well, from open play, because the goal he's scored since his return was in a penalty shootout, and that doesn't really count as a goal for him. So I would like to see him put the ball in the back of the net. That would be lovely. I've left the game playing here, which is always a risky thing to do. I think I'm going to take off Ben El Mahani. I'm going to bring on Harrison Wood and give him a few minutes out on the wing. And I still have 2 more changes because it's FA Cup. I am actually going to bring on Finlay McAllister at wing back. He can do a job there. I mean, he's not spectacular, but he can do a job there. So we'll do that. And then we'll save that final change. But again, this is job done. We've done the job in the first half. We can kind of take our foot off the gas at this point. I'm really happy with the job that we've done as well. I think the team have played sensationally right when we've needed them to as well. Because the FA Cup is important for us as a club to get some money in. Right, final change coming up. Who do we want to rest? I think we'll rest one of the centre-backs. I'm going to take off Ben Ward, I think. I'll bring on Aaron O'Reilly to get him a few minutes in. And we'll see out the game, hopefully, with no more drama. That's the plan. But that first half demolition job that we did was enough. O'Reilly trying to get a long-range header there. That first half job was exactly what we needed to do. Every goal was scored in the first half. We've kind of been on cruise control since then, but I'm okay with us doing it if we're 6-0 up. Right, Wood. Going back to McAllister. McAllister now went for an absolute worldie and managed to force an absolutely wonderful save. It's going to be a corner. We went out for a corner and curved back in. Ferguson to take. We might actually have a chance for a second half goal here. Ferguson whips it in, looking for the head of someone. Doesn't get on anyone. Riley flicks it back though, looking to get it in the back of the net, but doesn't quite do it. And that surely is going to be time. And indeed it is. Sorry, Southend. I'm hoping that that is going to do a job on them for the league game as well, because that is sensational. As a result, that is absolutely sensational. Considering they're not far away from us in terms of the league, we've utterly destroyed them there. So one would hope, by the way, I don't know if you saw that, winners of the FA Cup, West Ham United, which I think is excellent. I love the fact that they won that. And I think they beat Man City in the final. They did 3-2. Should we have a look at the game? Let's have a quick look at it. I'm curious. So, Rodri scored with Kevin De Bruyne with the assist. Then Fulkrug got 2 goals, put them 2-1 ahead. Erling Haaland scores in the 75th minute. Thomas Soucek, who is a quality player, by the way. If you ever need a central midfielder and you've got the ability to sign him, even at his advancing years that are coming. I mean, he's not that old, to be fair. He's 30 years old. But he is a quality central midfielder. Would recommend. He's a goal threat as well, as is shown by scoring in the 90th bloody minute. Sensational. So they're the FA Cup holders, so anything can happen. Anything can happen in the FA Cup. Right, I'm going to go away. I'm going to rest the players for a day or two, and then we're going to come back for the other game against Southend in the National League. Just as a reminder, they're currently 3rd, And hot on our heels are Forest Green Rovers. So we want to make sure that we win to try and keep that gap between ourselves and Forest Green. And Southend are only a point behind them. We want to make sure we extend our gap a little bit more so it becomes, rather than a 3-horse race, we turn it into a 2-horse race, which we can do by winning to a degree. And then when we next play Forest Green, we're going to obviously try and extend it a little bit more. So we'll see whether we can do that. And hopefully we can come away from this video with 2 wins from 2. Well, here we go again. Southend again, this time in the National League. And this is the 11 that we're going to be using. It is a very similar 11, but we have made 1 or 2 changes. So, it is Popple in goal, Banks, Burke, Ward and Wood in defence, Ravenhill and Dyson in the middle with Ben Elmahani, Ferguson and Mendes supporting Benjamin up front. So, we have a midfield and attacking midfield change. Mendes is in, Ravenhill is in as well. I did mention before as well, Popple has become our better goalkeeper. Langley, he's become a 2.5-star player. Popple was already here. Honestly, Popple has been doing a solid job for us, so I'm quite happy to just continue having him as our goalkeeper. I mean, I know Langley wasn't doing the worst job in the world, but he wasn't blowing me away either, so I'm comfortable, touch wood, with that as a decision. All right, let's get into the game and let's see whether we can do the job against Southend the way that we did it in the last game. Of course, last game, remember, 6-0. So, fingers crossed it can be the same. They have definitely made some changes, but the big one that they haven't done is they haven't changed the goalkeeper. So, that goalkeeper is going to be on a low morale, I would have thought, after that last game. So, we need to try and pour the misery on him at all if possible. Another home game for us as well. So, we are hoping that we can take full advantage of that fact as well. Now, if we could score immediately like we did last time, more's the better. If we can't, more's the pity. But hopefully we'll get something. Let me just change that to league table just so we can have a look at that. Looks like we are dominating to begin with in terms of the momentum, but we haven't had any chances yet. We had, of course, we were 2-3-0 up by now in the last game, so I'd quite like us to get a goal sooner rather than later. I don't want to give them too many chances to get into the game. Looks like we're struggling a little bit, so maybe they did rotate for the FA Cup, whereas we didn't. So that could play a part as to why it was such a walkover for us. But it does concern me as well because it means that they are going to be more of a challenge. Of course, we don't really want to give up any room in the league. We want to try and dominate it as much as we can. Right, shot from Ravenhill. And Ravenhill, with an assist from Alex Ferguson, not that one, has put us 1 goal ahead. And Ndengen D is having another shocker because that, I feel like he got hands to that. And I feel like he should have saved it. Right, Banks cuts back to Ferguson. Ferguson gets it to Ravenhill, who blasts it. That's poor from the keeper. That's so poor from the keeper. He gets his hands on it and pushes it further into one of the corners. And it is 1-0. We continue as we left things off with a goal, but we have another highlight here. Right, Wood whipping it in, looking for Ferguson here. Doesn't get it onto him, but Ben Elmahani is going to get on the end of it here. He's going to hold the ball up, gets it to Ferguson again. Ferguson, who is starting to really show the quality of player that he is, gets it to Mendes, but Mendes cannot put it in the back of the net. We are annoying Burnley, the club that Mendes is on loan from, because we're not playing him as a winger, we're playing him as an inside forward. I couldn't get consistent good games out of him as a winger, but inside forward he seems to just be able to do the job. It should be 2-0, but it's not. But we do win a corner here, so that is something at the very least. Are these the medical staff? I think these are the medical staff here, just chilling in the far corner. They're just chilling. Were they players warming up? I don't know. I can't tell. But they look like they've got a bag with them. No, they're warming up. Look at the stance they've got in that. They're just like they're like warming up, doing a bit of stretching maybe. That's the only thing I can think of. But then that's what these players are doing, so it can't be that unless they're ball boys. I don't know. I don't really know who these chaps are. They're distracting me from the game though. And I need to know who they are. It almost looks like they've got a bag sash here and a bag to their side. So I feel like they're medical staff. I don't know. Who are they? How did they get in the stadium? Is there a hole in the fence? I don't know. I don't know. Right. I'm quite content with that first half. However, I would like us to get another goal just to kill the game off. I would like us to make it 2-0 sooner rather than later. As it stands, this would put us still only the 3 points ahead, but it builds up a gap between ourselves and Southend by the number of 7 points, which obviously means that it's becoming more of a 2-horse race between ourselves and Forest Green, and then we can hopefully deal with Forest Green when we need to. That's the plan, at least. Anyway, we've been all over Southend. We're just struggling to kill them off here. The wingers actually having not the best game out there, which is interesting to see. Both Ben Elmahani and Mendes are struggling, so maybe we'll make a change on the outside at some point. I feel like that's mainly just from shooting. Their shooting's not been the best. I mean, you see Ben Elmahani there. I don't quite know why he's going from a shot from that far out, but I am going to make a change. Harrison Woody is going to come on for Ben El-Mahani. I'll leave Joe Mendes on for now, and I'm going to take Ollie Dyson off for Regan Riley just because he's on a yellow card, and then we've got that final change to make as and when we want to. And we'll go back and we'll see whether we can get that all-important second goal just to kill the game off. But I'm very happy with how we played in both games. We have looked the most dangerous team out of both of them. Even with them rotating around in this one, we've still looked incredibly dangerous. Floated in. They clear it out. Can we get the ball back? I mean, it's floating about a little bit. I'd like us to steal it off of them to get another goal here, if that's okay. Then we go into here. Riley does well to intercept. Riley into Mendes. Mendes going to try and cut it in. Gets it to Ferguson. Ferguson really should have a goal, but Ravenhill puts it wide. Great opportunity for a double from him, but cannot put the ball in the back of the net. We have been all over them in this game, and we just cannot get that killing blow. But we do intercept the ball again here. Ferguson now looking for Mendes. Mendes forced out wide. Mendes has picked things up. He's on the 7.2. Now he's on the 6.5 at half-time. Benjamin is there. Should be making it too. And again, we're just a bit unlucky. And Wood was there as well. But he couldn't get the ball in the back of the net either. We're desperately unlucky not to be 2, 3, 4 ahead. But we are not 2, 3, 4 ahead whatsoever. Right. Looking at changes. I'm going to move Mendes into the middle. He can do the job there. Benjamin's going to go out wide, and I'm going to bring on Glenn Taylor as another attacking option just to try and give us another edge in attack, and hopefully we can try and make it 2-0. But I'm happy with the performance. It's just they're a good lot, Southend. They are a good team. We've been all over them, but we know they're a good team. They're third in the league for a reason. But it's just not going to be enough to get past us. We are going to get past them, and that is full-time, surely, any moment now. We're into the 96th minute there, and there is full-time. Goodness me, referee. Learn to count, sir. Learn to count. But there we go. It is full-time. It is 1-0. Aggregate 7-0 over those two games against Southend. That's a joyous thing to see. And as you can see, as mentioned before, Forest Green have dropped points. 2-2. We now have a 5-point gap between Forest Green and a 7-point gap between Southend. So we now have breathing room. That's a huge set of games for us. We're into the third round of the FA Cup. We also got a decent amount of money for that as well, which I didn't show you. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Cannot find it. Is it still on here? There we go. We've got £67,000, which really did help the club's finances. So actually, if we got that from that game, I'm quite happy with whatever we get from the next game as well. But yeah, delighted with that. Delighted with how that's gone. Let's see what we can do going forward in this season, because I think we're setting ourselves up for promotion to League 2. And at that point, it becomes how much can we build the club to stay in League 2? Or do we start looking at other avenues to go to at that point? I'm not saying I want to leave Spennymoor. I don't, but this is a small club, and there is merit to staying here and building it up. But I do think we also need to be bearing in mind that this save isn't just about committing to a club. It's about committing to my own personal career if I was a football manager. So we are going to have to start thinking about that. I mean, I haven't really looked at it yet, but in terms of the job centre, we have a look at jobs that are available. I'm just going to make sure that we've got... I'm not going to do international jobs just yet. That would be ridiculous, but let's have a look at jobs that are available. So these are the jobs that are available at the moment. As you can see, in terms of jobs by nation, we've got a League 2 job in Grimsby at the moment to a bottom. We obviously wouldn't want to go there because, well, we're not looking to go now anyway. I'm thinking towards the end of the season, like just the jobs that are available. There's some jobs as well that are at different countries. Funnily enough, the Deportivo B team job is available. Wouldn't it be fun to go back there in a different save? I'm not seriously considering this at the moment. I'm just putting it on the radar that we're going to need to start thinking about it. I mean, in terms of insecure jobs, the Villa job's insecure. I don't think they'll have me just yet. But yeah, something worth thinking about going forward to next season, because that's usually the time when I think once you get into the Football League, you start to make a name for yourself and people start to look at you as a serious option as a manager. Right, when will we be back? It's going to be Lincoln. Nice and easy. We don't need to think about it much. It's going to be Lincoln. We'll go and play Lincoln, and then we'll play against Buxton as well. We'll have those two. So not a big gap between these two games. But hopefully we can get a good result in the Buxton game to help us not feel sorry for ourselves about the Lincoln game. We've got a chance against Lincoln. It's not outrageous to say that we've got a chance against them. If we have a look at their history in domestic leagues, they're the highest they've gone is where they are at the moment. They're a League One side who were a League Two side who were a National League side. It's not outrageous to suggest that they've been as high as the Championship in the 60s, by the way, actually. So I need to shut my mouth because they've obviously been able to do it. But we know we can beat a League Two team. We know we can do that. So the challenge now is for us to do one better than that, basically. I'm trying to talk myself into it, but I still don't think we're going to do very well. Right, I'm going to go away, and I'm going to get to this game against Lincoln and the game against Buxton, and we'll just see what happens. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a big like on there for me, and don't forget to subscribe as well. It's free to do so, and you'll make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu, you guys have been awesome, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.